Hey everybody, welcome to Psych Opinion. We're going to be kind of discussing Smile and Smile 2 tonight.
What we should do, we should probably try and do like a really creepy smile for this episode.
I don't think I got it in me,
There it
not
is.
after the day I've
Wiz
had.
did it. You gotta like
Do
put the
it.
nose down a little bit and
I
kind of
think you got
look
to be
up.
like, you got to like look
Yeah,
up
like-
and
Yeah.
yeah, and shit like that.
Is this
yeah.
good?
Never smelled
Yeah, that's
That's good,
perfect.
Jen. If you smiled at me like that, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Can you freeze that for the next hour?
That's what I should do is freeze everybody's faces and then we can still talk. So the first smile, so this is like, okay, so first we'll kick off here with a little bit of an idea of what happens in this movie. So you have this psychologist. She's working a lot. She's a workaholic. Girl comes in. I don't know if she's that important. She's really not that important. But this girl comes in and has some kind of freaky thing going on and ends up smiling at her all funny and kills herself. I mean, there's a lot more dramatic and stuff than that, but that's about like
And roll
the
credit.
gist of it. Yeah.
So I guess the premise is that this entity, whatever it is, attaches itself to people that have had trauma, past trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a curse. So and through the movie you kind of question, is it actually just in these people's minds? Is it real? Is it an actual entity, or is it something else? I think after seeing the second one, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but after seeing the second one, it kind of helps you realize a little bit more that yes, this is something that is it might not be tangible, but it is an entity that hops and jumps from person to person and
Through trauma.
through trauma. But yes,
Yeah.
they have to have had some sort of traumatic event in their life that might make them more susceptible to this thing attaching to them.
No, so actually, somebody infected has to die in front of the person for them to get infected.
True.
So I think that's how that works.
Commit suicide. They have
Yeah.
to commit
Okay,
suicide.
so my understanding right there and then is that the traumatic incident of watching it passed it on to you, but I didn't, I never made the connection that it was people with past trauma. Did I miss that? Did I blink? Did I get up
Wait,
and
is that-
take a?
I don't
Well-
think they actually like
Pee?
say it, like that's a thing, but I feel like it is true. It was actually it's in my notes too.
I didn't even pick up on
But-
that, man. Now I feel really stupid because I just thought it was like random people, but then like the trauma of the situation is what made them like go crazy.
I mean, if you think about it, like almost all of us have some sort of trauma, so it might not be specifically the people that have the trauma, but I feel like it feeds or accentuates or something, like the trauma that you've had in the past.
I don't know if I
But
have real
since
trauma.
everybody has like a trauma
Right.
I might be
of some
traumaless.
sort,
Maybe it gets its
Oh.
hooks a little deeper in you the more traumatic
Yeah.
more trauma
past
you
you've had,
yeah.
because wasn't it in the opening scene the girl who I think is even on the cover, who spends like 3 minutes in the movie and then she's gone and you don't hardly ever see her again.
Yeah.
But that initial girl, didn't she say that she watched her grandfather or one of her family members die?
Mhm.
Yeah, something
And that
like
was
that,
the
yeah.
communication that she was having with what, Rose, was it? Is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
Rose.
And so the fact that she omitted right out of the gate that she had watched her grandfather die, I think it was again her grandfather. And then you see cut scenes where Rose had watched her mom take her own life in front of her, and then she never dialed 911, or so she's got all this kind of pent up past trauma and stress over what she probably should or could have done as a child.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, even through the second movie, it helps kind of solidify, at least in my opinion, the fact that it attaches to people that have had past traumas, maybe more so than others.
I think it has more fun with people with trauma because there's more like ammunition to actually put against the person.
Right.
I mean, more mind games, if you will. Whereas I'm sitting here and I don't think I've had any major trauma where I've actually, watched somebody die or gotten into a terrible car accident or anything. So I don't know, man. If I had that thing, it'd be like some dude smiling next to me, like, "What's up?" I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'd be fun. I don't know if I'd be fun for this thing. It was a little bit of background information. I always like to throw that out there. It was directed by Parker Finn, distributed by Paramount Pictures, and it made 17 million. Or no, the budget was 17 million. The budget was 17 million on that movie.
All right, money laundering.
Wow.
Hollywood did the thing. Because no way.
That's it. It didn't seem to me like that was a 17. Anyway, 6.5 versus 10 on IMDb and 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm like noticing a trend. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or not, but I watched this other movie recently called Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
And Truth or Dare, I feel, was very similar in some ways to Smile. I feel like this whole facial disfiguration thing is kind of like a trend right now in horror movies. Seems to me like something that kind of keeps playing out, kind of this creepy looking face or people talking to you that may or may not be there. I just thought I'd point that out because I know a lot of times, especially Steve and I have brought up multiple times how there's like the brother movies, if you will, or whatever. One movie comes out and there's another movie that comes out that's very similar. I'm not saying Truth or Dare and Smile are like the same movie, but I just wanted to point out that I feel like there's a lot of similarities
Yeah.
in kind of the way it's shot.
They both
I have
Sort
something
of.
to add.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
they both go
No,
into the uncanny valley with the facial expressions. That's like a big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really creepy. I like the effect. And it's like just something I noticed. I just wanted to bring up, and I think I've seen a couple more movies like that, but without being able to really. I really couldn't tell you what they were off the top of my head, but I feel like I've seen that kind of thing coming out recently.
It
Maybe even a
reminded
little bit with the
me.
Following, or not the Following.
It
It
follows.
Follows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I was
Follows.
gonna say.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a really
I
Beat
was
good
you to
trying
it.
to say it.
Well,
Yeah.
whoever won, the point is, it happened. So with this being, I also think Liza would not have liked this show tonight because of the cat scene. I need to throw that out
Oh,
there.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
the cat.
cat.
I thought of her when I rewatched it because I rewatched the first Smile to refresh my memory, and I thought of her and I was like, oh no, I hope she doesn't watch this one.
I hate to say it, but I usually kind of try to trick Liza into watching movies like that because
Really?
I guess I'm just a sick bastard. I don't know.
Let's step back real quick because
Yeah, absolutely.
from way back in the day, I'm obviously a rock and roll fan. I think everybody knows that, but was it Soundgarden that had Black Hole Sun?
Yes.
And every time I watched
Video.
that video, I got that because they get like that, and it was even more disturbed in that they took the smile past what a human could actually do, really
Yeah.
distorting their face. But obviously, a smile, when somebody smiles at you, it's supposed to be welcoming. It shows that they're happy and that
Mhm.
things are good. And so to take that expression and turn it on its ear and make it something that's sinister and evil, it automatically kind of makes you feel uncomfortable in watching it, especially
Yeah.
a prolonged smile like that. It's like, wow, okay, that's kind of eerie. And then the more you look at it, the more you see it throughout the movie, the more it
Mhm.
really kind of grasps or kind of uh, takes on that meaning that they meant it to be, which was a sinister, evil thing under the guise of a happy facial expression. So uh, I thought it was a great idea, and I'm surprised that they haven't done something like that before in other movies that I can recall. I don't think I really ever seen
Well,
anything like it.
I mean, I think the premise you're talking about really goes back to one of my favorite genres of movies that we've discussed.
Clowns.
Yeah, clowns. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely clowns, man.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few people, like, I'm a clown fan. I love clowns. So anyway, continuing on with Smile here.
I
So
have something to add.
yeah, add it.
So because we were just talking about like the actual Smile and stuff. Did y'all notice that in both movies they did this thing where it was like everything was like upside down, like the shot would be
Yes.
like upside down.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting because I kept thinking, turn that frown upside down, but in this case, turn that smile upside down.
Mm.
I
I
know
don't-
it's like kind of silly, but that's exactly what I kept thinking every time it would go upside down.
Maybe it's
definitely-
because your life is about to be turned upside down.
Yeah.
It's true. Or
Yeah.
or almost like the mirrors effect too, where you're getting there's something else
Yeah.
involved maybe it's a parallel universe or a something else behind the scenes that you can't normally see, and they're just like I said before, just kind of flipping it on its side and kind of showing you a different side of things that is always there, but being viewed from a different lens.
Yeah, I mean, like upside down crosses, evil. I just
Yeah,
feel like upside down things are evil.
it's true.
Upside
Yeah.
down things
Oh,
are
like
evil.
Stranger Things too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Upside
Yeah, the
down
upside
cake,
down.
definitely
no, like
evil.
like
I love upside down cake.
You would.
That's my favorite kind of cake,
It,
and I
it
don't like
would
a lot of
be because
cakes.
it's evil. I like devil's food.
Devil's
Well,
food.
that's
Um,
evil too.
so here's since we're talking about kind of if you will nostalgic effects. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Lost Highway,
Long time
but
ago.
in
I
the
don't think
movie Lost Highway, my favorite part of that whole movie was that there was a scene where there was like this creepy guy and he's talking to was it Bill Pullman that was in that one, I think?
Yeah, yeah.
He's talking to Bill Pullman, and he's like, he hands him the phone, and he says, I'm at your house right now. Call me. And Bill Pullman takes the phone, and he calls his house, and the guy that's standing right in front of him answers the phone at his house.
Yeah.
Call me. Dial your number. I told you I was here.
And that creeped me out. And I really kind of felt that nostalgic feeling in the Smile movies because I like the fact that she would be sitting there with somebody, and the phone would ring, and it would be that person. Robin Weigart is I don't know if you guys ever watched Deadwood, but I absolutely love Robin Weigart. That was the doctor in the movie. She was kind of creepy. Um, she was the one that was actually sitting across from her on the couch, and she called, on the phone. And anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out to her because I really enjoyed her in that film as well. Yeah, tell us what you liked and didn't like. I would love to know. Tell us, Jen.
I mean, I liked
Do
it
it.
because it was good at showing the guilt and trauma. Good with the tension. Her descent into madness. It shows how scary it would be to have no one to believe you. Like you don't know like what really is going on. You don't know what's real and what's not.
Dude, that
Um,
feeling of being alone, that
yeah,
definitely was
Mhm.
eerie as hell. I mean,
yeah,
I feel
and not
like
having anyone to turn to really that you can trust, except for that one person. But
this movie
then
was
you can't even trust them because
yeah.
he was yeah.
There was one scene where she was sitting down with the one guy in the mental hospital or wherever they were, and
Mhm.
he wasn't affected by this entity, but yet he was talking about how he was seeing things, hearing things, that we were all going to die soon, yada yada yada, and so he was almost parroting or saying similar things that she and other people experienced in the movie as reality, but yet he wasn't affected or infected by
Hmm.
this entity. So that was kind of neat that they foreshadowed what was to come a little bit through what this guy's actual daily trauma was in his own life, his disconnection of mind and body. Um, which also I think when she realized, and I'm going to skip around a little bit, but when
mhm.
she kind of realized what this thing was or how uh, it kind of transported from one person to another, he was the guy that she was going to be willing to kill in order
Yeah.
to pass it
Yeah.
on. Which,
Yeah.
if anybody, he would have been maybe the one person that she should have been sympathetic towards
Hmm.
out of everybody that she knew in her life. But just I guess so we can move through the movie and get to the second one too. The quick synopsis or recap was obviously in the opening scene, she ended up taking on this entity through the young girl killing herself. And throughout the movie, it's just a bunch of different scenes, at least through the first watch, that you can't tell what's real and what's not. Sometimes even after the scene is over and she finds herself going through something traumatic, dealing with something, and then she's like out in the middle of the road, almost got hit by a car, or she was not in a place where she was picturing that she was. Um, it kind of showed how detached from reality she had become and how deeply this thing had manifested into her psyche that she had no clue what was real and what wasn't, and therefore could be manipulated to do virtually anything because you don't know what's real and what's not. So
Yeah.
that I thought that was pretty cool, and that was pretty wild how they played those scenes
Yeah.
out. It's been a little bit of, when did that movie come out? 22, if I
Yes.
remember right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
22.
That's the
2020,
last time I saw it too. So
Yes.
yeah, so I don't really recall a ton of stuff outside of her not really having anybody to fall back on except for her ex-boyfriend, which was
Right.
it was a
The Tom
cop, right?
Goner.
And so
I just love
somehow
him.
he had
Me too.
knowledge about this thing, or had been investigating it or looking into it. So the fact that he knew something about it and could, I don't know if sympathize is the right word, but at least hear her out and believe what she was saying, was good for her to have somebody to kind of uh, work through it with, and not to do it alone. Um, but throughout the movie, obviously there are many different scenes which bring you to the ending of where, okay, how does she get rid of this? Does she have to kill herself? Does she have to kill
Yeah.
somebody else? So
She tried to kill herself in a room like around nobody so she could break the curse
at
Yeah.
one point,
and
yes.
not pass it on.
Yeah, so she went back to her home
Childhood
that
home,
she kept. Oh, well, I guess we can't skip this. Her sister was an asshole as far as I'm concerned. Let's not,
Well,
but there were some
I mean,
silly scenes, but
kinda. It
um,
was. I was about to go through some of those because
yeah,
I didn't like
what you
some of the
got?
sillier scenes. Well, yeah, like I hated certain aspects of this first movie because I mean it's clear that it was some of it was like CGI, and I'm not like a big fan of CGI. I know sometimes it can be done well, sometimes it can be done kind of poorly, and I feel like some of the CGI in this movie was done kind of bad. Um, like I didn't like the twisty neck scene, like with the car. You know, when the sister comes up to the car and
Yeah.
I
Neck
thought that looked
balls.
really It
Could
looked
have
really
been done
cheesy to
better.
me.
She would have had to have like a
Yeah.
2 foot neck in order to make that happen.
I
I didn't
somewhat
like
disagree
the
with
demon at
that.
the end. I
I
thought the demon
somewhat
looked kind of
disagree with that.
stupid.
It scared me in theater.
What,
Um,
the twisty neck scene?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, the effect
Yeah.
was bad, but it's like for whatever reason, it was like a bad TikTok video or something. Like, I knew it wasn't good, but I wanted to keep like watching it. I actually rewound that a couple times when I
Yeah.
There are
first
good
saw it.
TikTok videos.
No, well, like one of those ones that's really stupid, and you're like, why have I sat here and watched this thing 8 times? Like it was.
Yeah,
It's like I
feel
know.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I know it wasn't a good effect. I know it was kind of cheesy, but like I did rewind it a couple times, and I was like, I don't know why, but I like
Right.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't like it, but I like it. I don't know.
I
That's
Well,
how
I
I
mean,
felt.
in a way, it is kind of original because you don't really see that like in a lot of movies. So
So I knew it was coming, and it still was enough of a jump scare to. I mean, it still
Yeah.
worked, I think.
I didn't know it was coming, but I knew something was coming. I didn't know that was coming, but
I
I knew
liked it.
something was coming when you see like the sister, walking up to the car. But I just thought it was like dumb.
So because you got to figure out, because in the opening scene of the second one, I was like, who is this guy? And I was like, oh shit, it's the
What?
guy from the.
How dare you?
Well,
Yeah.
because it had been a couple years.
It's my
I
boy.
knew.
So yeah, but and when he looked over into the grass and saw the flaming, like the girl on fire standing in the lawn, when he was going up to the house, then I remembered what had happened in the first movie. So she went back to a house that they had kept, had gotten in the will or whatever, and it was dilapidated, but they kept it. They didn't sell it. So she decided to confront her demons by going back there and ending her own life,
Good choice of words.
yep, which is what she thought she did until she ended up back at home, and like her real home, and then it was like, I thought I just killed myself or killed the mother,
That's right.
Yeah.
because the demon kind of manifested as a real twisted looking version of her mom,
Yeah.
which again kind of had that head down, eyes up type of, then a elongated face and giant smile, and enough into the darkness where you couldn't quite see everything. So she thought that she had solved it, hadn't. Then she goes back, sets herself on fire, and then who shows up, of course? Her ex-boyfriend to have it passed on to him.
Yeah.
So then we start in movie 2.